Welcome to Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments for Wednesday, October 8th, for our meeting. And we do have a quorum. So we'll go around, we can go through online first to see what's making our quorum. So we have Amy Mitchell from Park County and Annie Durham from where? Cripple Creek. Thank you. We have City Councilwoman Brandy Williams, City Councilman Roland Rainey, and then we have non-voting members Kimberly Gold and Laura Kronick and Steve King, the Mayor Pro Tem of Monument. So then let's go around the room. I'm Holly Williams, the Chairman from El Paso County. Andy?
Andy Gunning, PPACG Executive Director.
Dave Donaldson, Colorado Springs City Council.
Dennis Stern, Mayor, Palmer Lake.
John Graham, Mayor, City of Manitou Springs.
Todd Dixon, Mayor, Green Mountain Falls.
Sharon Thompson, Mayor, City of Fountain.
Bill Wysong, County Commissioner, District 3.
Corey Applegate, County Commissioner, District 4.
All right, thank you very much. So our next item is agenda approval. Before we approve the agenda, Andy said we have a few changes.
Thank you,
Andy.
Madam Chair. Two items we're going to suggest come off the agenda. One, 3D was going to be an update from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. They're on furlough with the shutdown of the federal government, so not available today. And also going to suggest we hold off on the passenger rail update. We're still trying to coordinate on level of information to present and so forth, and just not quite ready there as well. And we'll try to get that rescheduled for next month. So F and D under the presentations would come off.
Okay, so we will take a motion to approve the agenda with the exception we're removing 3D and removing 3F. Do I have a motion for that?
Mayor Dixon, I'll move we approve the agenda as modified.
And I was going to second what he said.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So public comments. We have public comments can be made before or during the meeting. Public comments during the meeting are limited to 3 minutes, can be done at the meeting location or remotely by using the posted Microsoft Teams link. Individuals are encouraged to notify the meeting organizer before the start of the meeting with the item they would like to comment on. Public comments can be submitted before the meeting via email for distribution to the committee members. Is there anyone in the room who would like to make public comments? Okay, and there anyone online, Jared?
Madam Chair, we'll ask anyone online to raise their hand, but we did not receive any advance requests or submitted written public comment, and I see no hands going up online.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 3B, we have someone's 5-year anniversary. Is Melody Hannah here? Come on forward.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jody Barker, of course, your Area Agency on Aging Director, member of PPACG. Just want to introduce Melody Hannah. She is our Associate Director, my Associate Director, and our Contracts Administrator. And so just wanted to share a couple of thoughts as we celebrate this month and her 5-year anniversary. She has done a spectacular job over her 5 years. She came in the beginning part of COVID. Everything was convoluted and mixed up, and she just weathered that storm, working with our providers, working with our staff, our finance team, and has helped me in so many ways in developing supports for our providers in our community, including some quarterly provider meetings where we're able to support and provide training to our providers. She also worked with our fiscal team, our finance director and team members in developing a modified annual assessment process that just just found so many ways to make it more efficient, for our providers, because it's a heavy lift and a big ask of our providers. And so she has worked with the finance team to do that. She also has streamlined our annual customer satisfaction survey process. Again, another one of those big requirements that we do with our providers, but found opportunities to streamline that process and really take on the administrative burden within PPAAA versus extending that out to our providers. She survived a data conversion of our data systems with the state, and so continues to be support for our 3-county region in that, and also engages with me across the state with our state network, the other 15 AAAs, as well as one of our key communication streams with the State Unit on Aging. So just want to congratulate her on 5 years with the Area Agency on Aging as our contracts administrator and our associate director, and just thank her for being my right arm. So I just wanted to thank her for that. And we have a little thank you for you. So we have a plaque to provide. It's titled Difference Maker, which is a noun, according to this. A strong, resilient person who is unshaken by life's challenges. They are unwavering in their dedication to uplift, inspire, and empower everyone they touch. They live not just to exist, but to make an impact, to serve, to ignite change, and to leave the world better, one person at a time, also known as Melody. You're very welcome. We're going to do a picture of this. Once you come in another. Thank you, Melody. Come in.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Okay, that was wonderful. Thank you. I wanted to recognize we do have Mayor Kelly Case from Woodland Park online as well. So let's see. Military installation. Oh, you're welcome.
Madam Chair.
You're welcome, Mayor Case. So military installation reports. Is David Tookmanian online? Okay, Colonel Herndon from Air Force Academy. Nice game on Saturday. That was a good, close one.
So, Madam Chair, I saw the colonel jump on, but it looks like he's dropped off.
Okay. Well, if we see them come back on, we appreciated the Navy, of course, our district attorney and Commissioner Weisong. We're very happy with the results of the Navy versus the Air Force game. And happy birthday to the Navy. It was a wonderful game to have such a close game. So, and now we'll have to go after Army next. Okay. And then if they pop back on, we'll break in and have a report from them. Regional visioning. Item E, our spacious skies. Margaret Dolan, Chief Executive Officer of the Pikes Peak Community Foundation. Welcome, Margaret.
As Margaret's getting plugged in, just really happy to have Margaret come and give an update. We've been trying to have her come in front of the board about quarterly-ish. It's a really big deal, the regional visioning effort. We've been a big supporter and proponent of the effort, and there was a broad community survey that was taking place over the summer. So appreciate Margaret coming and taking a chance to kind of update on what we're hearing and where we're headed.
Okay, let's make sure this is on. Okay, this is on.
There we go.
There we go. We're live. Couple things. Number one, thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited about where we are in this process. I also want to re-thank you guys for the funding that PPACG provided to this effort. It's much appreciated. Those dollars went far and were well spent, but also Andy's leadership as part of our kitchen cabinet has been really critical. So I'm just going to go through a couple of slides just to give you a little bit of an understanding of where we are. So you guys might remember that we started off with about 14 interviews with leaders in both Teller and El Paso County. We followed that with 3 focus groups that included about 30 people each. We had 2 here in the Springs and 1 in Divide so that we made sure and accommodate Teller County. After that, we had 66 people who participated in a week-long deep dive with our consultants, Heart and Mind Strategies. And then we used all of that data and information to construct 2 surveys. One was a scientific survey that reached out to 700 people, which would give us an error rate of plus or minus 3.8%. Then in addition to that, we did a community-based survey, which just closed a couple of weeks ago, and we're still crunching that data, but that included about 3,000 residents of Teller and El Paso County. So very pleased with the participation. So what I was going to share with you today is just a brief peek behind the curtain at some of the scientific survey results. I will ask you to put a little hold on your calendar for November the 6th. We're going to have a community-wide reveal event here in the Springs. We're working with Widener Field right now to be able to have it there. So look for that notification and invitation, but if you wouldn't mind, put a hold on that. So this is the scientific survey, and participants were asked to list their top 3 things that were adding to their quality of life in a positive way. And out of this list of offerings. So you can see a really, really strong notion that our scenic beauty and outdoor spaces are critical to people's positive quality of life. So if you added the first one, the scenic natural beauty at 41%, and outdoor recreation, the third one down at 24%, that's an astounding statement about how important this physical space is to people's quality of life. And then again, also safe neighborhoods and low crime. My family and close friends live here. Access to good health care. I can live in privacy, and good restaurants, shopping, and entertainment. So you'll recall when we first started talking about this project that one of the nuances and intricacies and expertise that Heart and Mind Strategies brings to this effort is this values laddering. So you can see on the very bottom where people talked about the attributes that were positively affecting their quality of life. So you see to the far left, scenic natural beauty, outdoor recreation, access to good health care, etc. The weight of the lines indicates the strength of response from people. So the heavier the line, the more people indicated that. Then the next level of questions would be to ask people, well, what are the benefits to you of that scenic natural beauty? And people answered things like, well, I enjoy the outdoors and I enjoy more outdoor activities. I live a healthier life in mind, body, and soul. And I have an opportunity to grow and try new things. And I feel more grounded. And then it says, well, what sort of emotions then does that produce in you? Well, I have a healthier life and I feel healthier. I feel like I'm a better person. I feel grateful and I have a positive outlook. I'm happy. And then you talk about, well, what sort of values does that bring to you? It's a sense of well-being, and it's a peace of mind and tranquility, very strongly indicated by many of these values. On the other side of the coin, respondents were asked about significant negative effects on their quality of life. High cost of living, lack of affordable housing, very, very strong. And I'm just going to flip back again to the positive for one moment. Our consultants said that they have rarely or never seen one thing be flagged at a 40% level or higher. So the fact that these outdoor spaces and the scenic natural beauty pops up at 41% is really quite profound. And on this slide, the fact that the high cost of living is popping up so high is alarming. I mean, most of us have realized that that's an issue here. So the high cost of living does not include housing, but then if you include a lack of affordable housing and a shortage of housing and high cost, those are very high numbers. And then again, on the values laddering, sort of on the left-hand third of the chart where you see that high cost of living, it's making me feel that I can't make ends meet and that I don't have professional opportunities, which leads me to feel the emotion of stress or helpless and defeated or sad or frustrated and angry. And then if you go up to the very top, it's a sense that I lack peace of mind. One of the other questions, and like I said, I'm touching on like 12 slides out of 65. So just a very high level overview. So this is an interesting chart. So you see on the y-axis where people have ranked the importance of certain things, and on the x-axis they have rated how well we're performing as a community on those things. So on the really positive side, on the top right-hand quadrant, you can see that good healthcare and hospitals, protecting and preserving nature and the great outdoors, healthy living and lifestyles, and lots of good outdoor recreation and adventure rank high in terms of importance to the people who live here, and also rank high in terms of their perceived performance on those items. On the far left side, you see things that ranked of high importance to people, but their perception of our performance on those is low. Again, excuse me, and these correlate with what you saw on the earlier chart. So is there plenty of affordable housing? Homelessness? It's easy to get around. And then in the middle, toward the bottom, you see things that ranked lower in terms of importance and sort of a mixed bag in terms of performance. Impressions of growth. So overall, these 700 responses, about 25% felt that growth would make things better, and about 51% thought things would make things worse. And those don't add to 100. And then if you break down by ages, very interesting. Young people thought that 35%, about balance though, thought that growth would be better. 35 to 54 thought that growth would be worse. Dramatically over 55, 69% thought that growth would be worse for our community. And then you can see a little bit of a geographic breakdown. So we had all of the respondents go through a thought process about what were the benefits of growth and what are the consequences of growth. The reason for doing this is multifold, but one of the most important ones, in my view, was to help people understand who might have been polar opposite. Growth at any cost. We don't care what it costs. We want growth, or we don't want growth, and we don't care what the consequences of that are. So some of just asking them these questions and forcing them to consider some of the benefits or some of the consequences helps broaden their understanding of what growth means. So you can see that these top benefits that people flagged were that it creates more jobs and economic opportunities, increases tax revenues for the region, and that there would be more restaurants, shopping, and entertainment. Sorry, my clicker's not working. Do it another way. In thinking about the top consequences of growth, traffic will get worse, increased crime, increase the housing shortage and makes affordable housing even harder to find, and overcrowding. Now, some people that we've had conversations with about this data go, I'm not sure that makes sense, or that's not really the way things happen when you have growth. But remember, this is all about people's perceptions about what will happen. And so for me, as I look at this, and I hope you will, is these are opportunities to educate people about what really can happen with growth, positive and negative, and how we can get in front of making sure that growth is the way we want it to happen. The next slide I added in here just because I think it'll be really interesting to you in particular. So our consultants also asked this question. Is investing in public transportation across the region an important priority? 89% of people agreed. So you've got somewhat's at 52 and 38 was strongly agree. So that's a huge opportunity to be thinking about public transportation. Okay, there we go. And that is consistent with national numbers. So nationally, about 85% of people say that we should invest in public transportation. So that is all I had in terms of presentation, but I'd be more than happy to answer questions.
Okay, Councilmember Donaldson.
Thank you, Madam President. And Margaret, thank you for the presentation. Real interesting. Maybe you said this and I just missed it. How many participated in the survey? How many folks?
Yeah, great question. This data is based on 700 people, which is statistically what you need for this region to be accurate.
And how were they selected or contacted?
Yeah, they were selected by a group that's their business to select people to participate in survey. So it has to be consistent with our census data. So by population, by demographic differences, age groups, race, economics, all of those things.
And they would reflect the demographic makeup of the two counties?
Correct.
And how many folks from each county? Was it reflect the population of each county? Like
it does.
Many fewer in Teller or in
Correct.
El Paso?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we had about 3,000 participate in the community-based survey, but that data is not reflected here. I do know from early indications from our consultants that the community-based data is strongly correlated with the scientific data, which is typical for what they have found across the country.
And I think I wasn't here when this project started off, so I haven't heard this part, but what is the proposed use by who for this?
Yeah, great question. And I'm excited that you brought it up, actually. So the reason why the Community Foundation wanted to do this work is we were part of a group in this room called the Futures Forum that Andy brought together, many leaders from across the region talking about clean air plans and transportation plans through 2050. And we had, at the Community Foundation, already done some analysis of strategic plans that existed for this region in an attempt to find the common goals and the common thoughts in each of those plans. We looked at about 50. So I brought that information to the Futures Forum and suggested that we not think about air quality and transportation in isolation from all the other things that affected people's quality of life. As we talked more about it, then we brought in representatives from other regions that had done regional visiting efforts. So Kansas City, Utah, trying to think who else, Chattanooga. Was it just the three, Andy?
I think those were the big ones.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City Wasatch Front has been at this for about 20, 25 years.
Yeah, since like 1997.
Mhm.
So we really liked the Envision Utah model, and we, the Futures Forum, sort of said, yes, we'd like to do something like this. And the Community Foundation would be the logical entity to do it so that it wasn't coming out of government. So a couple of us, Andy was one, myself, Matt Carpenter, and Tim Seibert, then got in touch with the consultants who helped with Envision Utah. And we spoke with them, we liked what we heard, and so they're the ones that we engaged to do this work. The reason to do it is to really allow government, the nonprofit sector, the business sector, and philanthropy to have a shared understanding of what people care about most. We'll all go about our work in different ways, but we'll at least have a common understanding of what the residents have said is most important. Next steps after this research are for us to activate the research. So groups like you, as you're thinking about your strategic planning, we hope will use this information to inform your efforts. Same thing with nonprofit organizations, same thing with mayors of various cities that exist within this region. And for philanthropy at the Community Foundation, we will direct our discretionary grant making according to what we have now heard is most important from the community.
Okay, thank you. And then just final thing is really a thought. I'm actually surprised at these very high levels of agreement that public transportation is important for the region because people don't use it. And so I don't know if that's a fear of crime, that people are afraid of what can happen to them when they get on a public bus. I think that's part of it. But it's interesting to see these numbers. I think maybe people feel like they should say it's important and it's important for somebody else, but I'm driving my car. And so
I
thank you.
think there's a lot of truth in what you say. The community that I moved from to come to this area, same thing. People say they want it, but until public transportation can actually be more convenient than your own private vehicle, it has little success. So it always ends up having to be something that's subsidized because it would be rare to be able to cover the cost of the system itself.
And the thing I'd add to that is even subsidized. We have zero cost for the buses now in Colorado Springs, right? The clean air in the summertime deal. I don't think we don't fill them up. So free transportation, it just isn't convenient enough. And I think safety is also a contributing factor to that. But thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, before I go to Commissioner Weisong, can I go to Councilman Rainey on mine?
No.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This is City Councilman Roland Rainey, representing District 6. I find your briefing quite interesting, especially some of the data points from the graph earlier, which I would love to dive a little deeper into. But the question I have is in regards to the demographics of the personnel that took the survey. Do you have a website, or do you have those numbers that you can share with us or directly that I can take a look at? I'm quite interested to see how the specific parts of the demographics really apply to some of these data points. Is that something you have on a website that we can, go to and pull some of those data points?
Not yet. What you guys are getting is really a peek behind the curtain at this very early information from the scientific survey. We'll be making public a report on November the 6th. We'll be having an event where we're sharing a lot of information. Our consultants will be here, and they run circles around me in terms of being able to explain what we call the spaghetti chart. And so I'm excited about that. So then a lot of information will be on a website after that. But right now we're in conversation with a software developer about a web platform that we hope to roll out in late spring that will visually represent this information as well as the state of affairs. So for example, whatever metrics we might use to talk about homelessness, like the point in time counts, where we have concentrations of homeless, where we have concentrations of people who are thinking about the homeless population or not. All of that will be visually represented so that you can see it, along with a catalog of nonprofit organizations that are doing work in that issue area by geography. So we should be able to see where there might be gaps in service, where, again, back to people using this for their strategic planning purposes. If I'm a nonprofit that's working on homelessness and I see concentrations of it in an area where I'm not doing work, then that might incentivize me to pivot and change the way I'm doing my work.
Okay, thank you. I'll definitely look forward to seeing those data points when they're, I guess, flushed out. And I don't know if you mentioned this already, but you mentioned early spring is when you're looking to roll out some sort of a platform that will highlight the data points and the demographics and so forth.
Yes, the fancy web platform will be in the spring. A more rudimentary version of all that data, including a very comprehensive report, will be available in early November.
Early November. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Weissong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Margaret. Could you repeat the date and time again when?
Yes, November the 6th, and I believe right now we're looking at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And we'll follow up. We'll send out, make sure you guys get on the invitation list for that.
Is there any way that through PPACG that we can get an advance copy like a week before or a few days before to kind of generate questions?
I'd rather not release it early, but I mean, this is kind of, you guys are getting a lot today.
If you could go back to the top consequences of growth.
Yes.
Do you have any information from the municipalities within El Paso County and Teller? When you get growth, yeah, traffic will get worse and a few other things, but then people were thinking then, if you go back, I think another slide of the benefits, more jobs, increase the tax revenue. It'd be interesting to get the municipality's viewpoint because there's a lot of cost for growth. And, you kind of look at this and say, well, wait a minute, it's going to increase tax revenue. Well, it may, but it may cost a lot more to put in infrastructure. So it'd be really interesting to get a municipality's or all of them viewpoint prior to the 6th, because I think that is a critical cost factor because there's always going to be some kind of a lag time. And then if you go to the public transportation slide, please. The missing question, and it would be really interesting, and it kind of feeds off of what Dave was saying. I don't know if you have the ability with your consultant to go back to those 700. Of those 89%, how many are willing to pay for it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so on the community-based survey, there was also a question that goes to use. All these people that have said, yes, we're in favor of investing in it, but would you use it? Maybe not so much. And that's a similar question that we ask on the community-based survey about solutions to affordable, attainable housing. Do you want more? Yes. How about in your neighborhood? Maybe a little less enthusiastic, but actually the numbers weren't tragic. So there is so much information that I have not shared with you. We've got crosstabs, all those demographics that you were asking about. They're crosstabs by every demographic, geographic. We've got zip codes grouped together so that you'll be able to see this information according to a smaller subset. So not even just the city of Colorado Springs, for example. So sliced and diced many different ways. And we're really excited to be able to share it.
But was there a question about willing to pay for it?
I don't recall if there was one about willing to pay for it. For this group, if I were serving on this board, I would say this is what we need to build off of. People say that they want it. Now let's educate them about what it costs and about what they have to do. Just like when Southwest Airlines comes in here and adds a new route to BWI, they have to guarantee a certain number of seats and traffic on there. Same thing with public transportation within our region. How many people are going to take public transit from Woodland Park to Colorado Springs every day?
Well, and then the reason I'm asking the question too is that if it's a safety issue, okay, part of the cost would be putting some kind of security on the public transportation. So that's why it's so critical to understand, because my guess would be you'd probably be an inverse of those numbers if they put a true cost to it.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Okay.
And with the data platform that we're looking at, we should also be able to do some scenario planning, which is what Envision Utah did. So they put a question out to people about, it was actually public transit down the Wasatch mountain range, and ask people and put out some scenarios. This is what our life would look like if we do it. This is what our life would look like if we don't. This is what our tax would have to be in order to build all this, blah, blah, blah. It ended up in a referendum where the people of Utah voted to tax themselves in order to pay for it because they did see the value in it. And people may or may not see value when they understand the facts. But I think what this illustrates for us is where those opportunities are to give people the facts and allow them to play with some scenarios about what life might look like.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mayor Thompson.
Thank you for your presentation. It's fascinating. I look forward to diving into this a little bit more, because my question on that would be, what kind of public transportation are they interested in, right? Or they just want more bus routes, more frequent on bus route, or they're the people that want to really invest in the front range passenger rail. My concern, though, today is, and I've had this discussion with several groups lately, you're not the only one, is sometimes we set times for meeting, and the people you get to the meeting are not the community members because they're at work. They're the people who work for the groups that you're hoping will support your endeavors. And so I ask you to look at that 3:30 time slot, and are we really truly going to get a cross match of people, that community members that we want to buy into this program and be invested in it? Or are we looking to ask the people who are the groups that might support it, that are being paid to be there, not the volunteers in the community? And so let's look at that, because 3:30 and then to pay to park, I'm hoping you're also working with the Olympic Center to get free parking there, because if I have to pay $10 to park, that's also going to affect whether I attend that or not. So
yeah, so that meeting is really meant for leadership who are going to then use this information to guide from a leadership perspective how we accommodate growth and how we accommodate the things that people have said are most important to them, positive or negative. After that big reveal, there'll be 6 or 8 weeks of times when we are out with groups of stakeholders, nonprofit leaders, that sort of thing, where we go out to those groupings and talk to them about how they can best use this data. So that's the beginning. It's not
that answers my question.
It's not the all.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That was very fascinating. We appreciate it. And we look forward to receiving our invitation for the big reveal.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right, item number 4, consent items are acted upon as a whole unless they are called up for discussion by a board member or a citizen. So, can I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Mayor Dixon, I'll move to approve the consent items.
Second.
Case second.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and that passes. Let's see, let's go on to item number 5, our 5A fiscal year 25 to 29 TIP program amendment number 6. Josh Squires.
Good morning, board, and thank you for all your time this morning. This amendment request comes from CDOT's Division of Transit and Rail and would add a new project to the fiscal year 25 through 29 TIP. It's the Monument Mobility Hub. This project is included in CDOT's 10-year plan and received $50,000 in fiscal year 26 funding and $450,000 in fiscal year 27 funding through Senate Bill 267. Initial design work will begin this year, followed by site improvements such as ADA upgrades, drainage improvements, and stripage. Along with the addition of a bus shelter that features also an informational board, El Paso County is also planning a PPRTA roundabout at Woodman Drive and State Highway 105, which will also complement the Mobility Hub improvements. This amendment has been recommended for approval by both the TAC and CAC. And I'll turn it over to CDOT to answer more project questions you have or share more details. Thank you.
Commissioner Weishong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you tell me where, I thought I heard you say Woodman.
I'm sorry, Woodmore Drive,
Woodmore.
State Highway 105.
Okay,
My
thank you.
apologies.
We're talking about the actual Highway 105 or where they put up a temporary roundabout there at the entrance to the bus drop-offs.
Yeah, I think it's at Woodmore and
Lake Woodmore.
Lake Woodmore.
Yeah.
I think that's where
I
we're
don't
talking
think
about.
they could do a roundabout at 105 and Woodmore would be insane.
With Jackson Creek Parkway there, that'd be kind of fascinating.
No, that's not, they're not right there.
I know, but I know what you're talking about. It would be a very big roundabout. So no, I think that would be at Lake Woodmore and Woodmore Drive.
Yeah, I can't remember, what is it, 9 months ago they put up a temporary one or just to test it out or something.
Yes. So, okay. We do need to take action on that. So is there a motion to approve this item?
Hang on a second. So is it Woodmore or Lake Woodmore? So we have an idea what the area's at.
It is Lake Woodmore and Woodmore. That
And
was where the
Madam Chair,
temporary one was.
Hold on. So is the roundabout going at Lake Woodmore and Woodmore, or is it going at 105 and Woodmore? Because that's two different intersections, because it would be up here.
Okay, I have someone speaking online. Scott Skinner, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, I'm Scott Skinner. I'm a transit liaison here. So we're actually speaking to the north of Lake Woodmore. So just on Woodmore Drive, it is that entrance to, if you see on your screen, it's just that north little part there where it feeds into our mobility hub there. So it is just solely on Woodmore Drive and not Lake Woodmore to impact that intersection or anything. So just right there, and PPRTA is taking the lead on that.
Okay. Could you confirm that again? You're saying at the very top of the shaded area?
Yeah.
Correct. Yes, that's correct. That's where the roundabout's going to be.
Oh,
Why?
Okay.
I guess my question is the biggest issue is the intersection of Lake Woodmore and Woodmore Lake or Woodmore Drive. That is a horrendous intersection, especially when school's out. Why wouldn't the roundabout be there to allow more people from Lake Woodmore to get into that Woodmore Drive?
Do we have anyone on from El Paso County in our attendees? Josh Palmer. Victoria Chavez.
Yeah, this is Josh Palmer. Can you guys hear me?
Hey, Josh. Thank you. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Yeah, so during the analysis of possible locations of various intersection improvements, one of the considerations was a roundabout at Woodmore, Lake Woodmore Drive, so just north of the gas station there. But because of the proximity to Woodmore Drive and Highway 105, any improvements to that intersection of Woodmore, Lake Woodmore, would have an overlapping impact to the intersection at Highway 105. So we are getting the benefits of and efficiencies of a roundabout, but we're going to put it to the north there at the entrance to the park and ride, the mobility hub. So we're still working through all the design details, but essentially those who want to exit Lake Woodmore Drive and to go south on Woodmore Drive will make a right and then go up to the roundabout and come back down. So basically a fancy U-turn.
Yeah, so I remember when they did that on Powers, it worked out very well. So you turn right to go up, you go around the roundabout to come south, and it actually works quite well. Commissioner Weissong, any more questions? Mayor
Josh, is that going to be a double lane roundabout and expand the entrance into the mobility parking lot there?
I believe, and don't hold me to this because I don't have the design in front of me, but the last I remember, it would be a 2-in-1. So it'd be a 2-lane entry. It'd be 2 lanes north and south, and 1 lane coming in. It'd be 1 lane coming in from the mobility hub. So yeah, it would be 2 lanes on Woodmore Drive going north and south, if that makes sense.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem King online, go ahead.
Yes, as someone who uses this road quite a bit, I guess I disagree that the northern part of this is going to be effective because I don't see people leaving Lake Woodmore and turning right to go around a roundabout to head south to turn right on or left on Highway 105. I think it's not even going to be utilized personally. So
I actually, and we may want to postpone this till next month if we can and get a further designer. Is this a PERTA item? My suspicion, Mayor, is Pro Tem, is that it will be a forced right turn. So you will no longer be able to turn left off of Lake Woodmore.
That's correct. The problem is that the traffic backs up so far while people are waiting at the light. Even if we were to add a third turn lane onto 105 from Woodmore Drive, the traffic backs up at peak hours so far for people waiting at that light that no one would ever be able to make a left-hand turn from Lake Woodmore to go south onto Woodmore Drive. So Commissioner Williams is correct. We would prevent, it would be what's called a half movement intersection. So if you wanted to go south on Woodmore Drive from Lake Woodmore, you'd be forced to turn right, go up the couple hundred feet to the roundabout, turn around and come back south. So the analysis and the modeling showed that because of the backup for people waiting at that light, 105 going south to 105, you'd never be able to make a left-hand turn. So it actually would make it even worse than it currently is. So you get the benefits of a roundabout, but you move it to the north, and there is what could be perceived as a minor inconvenience, but the delays in people wanting, there's more of a delay in forcing people to, or allowing people to make a left from Lake Woodmore to go south on the Woodmore Drive than it would be to force them to make a right and go up and come back around. It's quicker to do that.
Okay, well, thanks for explaining that because that makes more sense than just putting one up to the north end of this.
So, Madam Chair, this is an El Paso County project that is funded through PPRTA. for the roundabout, which is completely separate from CDOT's mobility hub here. So the item in front of you is the CDOT mobility hub that was in the 10-year plan. The roundabout is a separate owned project.
That's
I
cool.
apologize, board, for mixing up where the location.
So we're not voting on the roundabout. We're voting on the mobility hub, which makes life a lot easier. Oh, you have to be on the mic.
Well,
That's
nobody
okay.
online can hear anything he's saying.
Yeah, John was saying the roundabout horse has already left the barn. Actually, I know that they had quite a big community meeting up there about that. So it's in my district. Okay,
Madam Chair, could I just ask, when the horse left the barn, did it turn right or left?
It actually turned left and then had to walk backwards. So
these pieces are all going to fit together. We're not going to have like the roundabout here and the. I'm just so confused with the whole roundabout thing. Just threw me out. I've been sitting here trying to read where roundabout is listed in here. So
what we are approving.
All we're approving is this. This is a park and ride.
Yeah, this is a park and this is a mobility hub, and it's not a roundabout. So that's what we're approving here today. Mr. Leosatos, did you want to tell us more about horses that left the barn?
My apologies. Again, I think one step back. Remember, this goes through the whole process, right? So it starts with TAC, and TAC is full of all of the city transportation planners as well as the county transportation planners, right? So we have all those folks. So when this presentation was given at the TAC committee, a gentleman from El Paso County, who's actually, it's his project, came in and said, hey, this separate CDOT project that is all contained within CDOT property that updates the mobility hub, he said, it is adjacent to my project and we are coordinating. So that came into the whole discussion at that level, just to make sure everybody knew that we were all on the same page and we weren't building one thing over here and building something else over there that were not compatible. Fast forward to we have our CAC committee, then all of a sudden they have a different focus because that's our citizens advisory committee. So they start talking about, hey, so where's that roundabout in relation to the high school and stuff like that, because those are things that community members sort of care about. So we tailored that presentation to them. Fast forward to today. Again, my apologies. I kind of said, hey, make sure you mention that we are coordinating the projects, and he did exactly what I said. But unfortunately, I didn't provide that bigger context. So in the bigger context, what's in front of you today is only the CDOT mobility hub upgrades. But just as an aside, so you know, there is a PPRTA El Paso County project that is right next door. And those two projects are talking and coordinating. So we're not going to have a road coming out like this and a road coming in like this. And we're like, oh, we should have talked. So that's all was intended. My apologies for any confusion that we may have caused. But I think hopefully it's a little clearer now.
At least we're listening.
All right. So all we are voting on is the mobility hub. And so with that, I will make a motion to approve the mobility hub with the TIP amendment.
Mayor Dixon, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So today at PERDA probably we'll discuss the roundabout. But we will not talk about the mobility hub or horses. By that time, the horse will be dead and we'll be beating it. So 5B is the legislative update. Jared.
Good morning, Board of Directors. Jared Verner, Public Policy and Communications. The item we have for your approval would be our 2026 legislative themes and priorities document, and I pulled up the second page or the inside of that trifold for your review. Compared to previous years, I will say that most of it, especially on the transportation, the aging services, the environmental part of the military, are largely the same. The biggest change on the aging side is just codifying the Commission on Aging proposal on making the homestead exemption a part of the permanent, not reliant on Tabor surpluses. But the biggest change, and why I wanted to pull this up, is it's in the middle and the top, and it's to protect local control piece. In the past, we've always had a local control component within our priorities document, but it's always been in relation to transportation, aging, environment, or military. By separating it out, this was something that we heard a lot, especially at the end of last session, about taking a more active role in some of those other pieces. And so that's where we decided to pull out the local control and not make it embedded within those transportation, senior, environmental, and military pieces, but just make it a broader thing for that staff would look at and proposing to the legislative committee and board of directors for positioning and advocacy. The way we've worded it is, I always say, it's expanding the aperture a little bit. And so would be anything, I had answered a question this morning, so land use would be one that, as the legislature has taken more and more interest in making land use an issue of statewide concern. So that is being able to advocate on those issues a little more effectively when it's not just tied to transportation, as we've seen in some specific bills in the last couple of years. What this document does for some newer members, this serves two purposes. This allows us to be able to hand to legislatures what our priorities are and what we would like for them to see in the upcoming session. But this document also provides the ability in between meetings, or if we can't call a legislative meeting quickly enough, for lobbyists and staff to be able to move quickly. Really, the only time that we would be running into this move quickly scenario would be the last couple of days of the session. But otherwise, for the first 110 days of the session, usually that things move slowly enough through the process that we'll be able to have a legislative committee in between to be able to discuss and make sure that we're on the same page. Happy to answer any questions. This is a legislative item, so it does require 2/3 confirmation from the board.
Okay, do we have any questions?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say that I support PPACG sort of broadening the scope of our interest in protecting local control, especially I think in the areas of land use and zoning. I think that's an area the state has sort of overstepped its traditional boundaries.
Yes. So I found just one other thing before I go to the mayor is it's very helpful actually when we make up some of these to keep some in your purse if you're going somewhere, because you never know when you will run into someone who wants one of these. And I ran into a state representative for House District 18. I can't remember her name, but I just needed to be able to pull it out and hand it to her. And it was something that was really important to talk to her about. So, Mayor Graham.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to echo Councilman Donaldson's sentiments regarding local control. I think the state has forgotten Civics 101. The local control and local autonomy is fundamental to the way we do business. And certainly, I think that it's a matter of self-defense. I think it's important that PPACG step forward and tell the state to climb back in its own box for a while. Thank you.
Amen. Okay, Mayor Thompson.
I agree with my partners to the right. We need to approach this regionally. In the words of a very famous patriot, we all hang together or we all hang separately. And threatening to keep funds that our citizens have paid into away from us from the governor at the end of the session was outrageous. And we need to fight back.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the brochure, or anyone online first? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve our brochure again this year?
I'll move approval of the brochure as presented.
Mayor Stern, second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Thank you very much, Jared.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is the financial policy adoption. Carol McBroom, our finance director.
Hey, good morning. Carol McBroom, PPACG Finance Director. I am here presenting the comprehensive financial policies that we've been working on for the last year. So last month, we presented some what I called new policies that have arisen since I've been in this position. And basically they were real world situations that arose, but there was no guidance that was written down. So that's what we did. We took those situations and we put them into policies, and those I presented to you last month. What's in this comprehensive policy is not only everything that we talked about last month, but it also includes policies that are already in place: travel policy, credit card use policy, internal controls, cash management, things that we've already been assessed by our auditors yearly, and also assessed by some of our grants like the FTA and the AmeriCorps, the VISTA program. So as I present these policies to you, I want you to realize that we have great internal controls. We just took the time to actually put them in writing for everybody to be able to see and to abide by. And so today I'm asking for approval of these policies and open to any questions. Oh, and let me stop by saying, I want to shout out to Mayor Case, who was a big piece to this puzzle. She took her time out to help me to look over, and also Councilwoman Jennifer Hersberg from Fountain was also another big help. So shout out to them too. But I am open to any questions, and I am looking for approval of the policies.
Okay, do we have any questions? This has been a great project. Thank you.
Just have one comment. I know at the City of Manitou, we have a similar set of policies embedded in our budget, which is online for most of the year, unless we're disassembling it and putting it back. That way, if a citizen wants to know how we handle money, how we write checks and so forth, it's about 3 button clicks to get to that policy. For us, I think that's neat. I don't know how many people actually use it, but I've told people when they have concerns, go there and you can read it and see what it's like. And I think that's been a significant thing in helping the public understand that we take handling money seriously. So I don't know if that's something that could be conveniently done on the PPACG website or something, but it might be a consideration. Thank you.
It's a great idea. Transparency. It's great. Yeah, thank you.
Mayor Case?
I was just waiting. I was going to make a motion because I'm so proud of the work that they've done.
Okay, but let me get Councilmember Donaldson first.
I'm waiting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Carol, just my only question is, what's the most significant change in here? I tried to read through this last night, but can you help us with that?
Sure. I really think the most significant changes is the policies we created for the board authorities, the executive director authorities, because those have never been written down. And so now they're created. And so we should all have a clear understanding of what to expect from each other.
And I think you said that those are basically just codifying or writing down what we have been doing, right? So there's really no change there. It's just putting it on paper. Is that
correct?
Okay,
yeah, correct.
Thanks.
Okay.
If I could add just one more thing, I think as far as clarity as well, one thing that benefits, I think, us as an organization and staff especially is the clarity on procurement. That's been a little bit hazy as far as how we go about buying services and engaging in contracts. So that's been super clarified in this effort as well. So really appreciate that. That's going to help us in many ways for going after professional services and all the things we have to buy as an organization.
Okay. With many thanks to both Mayor Case and your City Councilman, Mayor Thompson, who helped. We greatly appreciate it. Mayor Case, I think we're ready for do you have any more?
I was just going to second it.
Okay, we're ready for the motion, Mayor Case.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial policy that as presented.
I'd like to second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a wonderful project. Item 6A. Carol, you can't go very far. Get your other folder here. It's our 2026 budget.
And as Carol's getting set up as well, I'm going to hand out, we sent this out after last month's meeting. I think it was Mayor Thompson suggested that we update and provide a little bit of an impact statement and assessment that describes local dues and what the benefit of being a member of PPACG is. We sent this out, but I'll hand this out as a handout as well. And for folks online, we'll email this out again after the meeting, so you've got this. But I think we tried to take a pretty decent shot at identifying what the value is based on your membership dues that you do pay to us as an organization. So yeah, Carol.
Okay, let's talk budget. Excuse me. So I'm here to talk about the fiscal year 2026 budget. I will be looking for guidance on a couple of areas. Membership dues would be one, and then wage pool increases or no increases would be the second. So just give you some highlights of the budget presented. Excuse me. The revenues are projected to be a little over 11.1 million for fiscal year 2026. That is a decrease of about 556,000. Couple of reasons. Military budget will be decreased by shy of 300,000 due to a change of scope. There was a regional project we just talked about, the DOLA project for 250,000 that won't be carried over into 2026. The transportation program, the planning program budget is flat, but happy to report that the funding does include non-matching funds again this year. And if the AAA budget looks a little strange this year, it's because we separated out the FTA mobility, basically $1 million grant out of AAA when we gave it its own program. And for your review, I gave you 4 draft budgets. 2 or 3 will include a wage pool increase at 3%. As requested, I broke it out by various membership dues. And you will see there's not much of a significant difference between a membership dues if it was to increase at the 2.1%, at the 1%, or if we kept it flat. I also gave you a draft budget at a 2.75 wage pool increase, and we can talk about those more in just a second. But I just wanted to focus on dues quickly. So again, back in 2023, it was decided that we would increase dues based on the Denver CPI, the July report. And so if we used that guidance for this year, it would be a 2.1% increase. So I did include a budget with those figures in there. We are suggesting, we are recommending as a staff that we keep member dues flat for this year and that we move into fiscal year 27 back to the guidelines of the Denver July CPU increase. As you will see in the little chart, the 2.1% increase for fiscal year 26 is about $11,000. So spread out between the members doesn't seem significant, but it seems like there's a lot of jurisdictions that are having a hard time coming up with the additional funds. So again, we're suggesting a flat membership for fiscal year 26.
And if I could, Carol, if I can just interrupt for a second, just had a couple of good conversations over the past couple of weeks with the city, town, county managers in a couple of different venues and mentioned to them that this is what our recommendation was going to be. It's not, it hasn't been adopted, obviously, by the board yet. But a bunch of them really appreciated that. They've talked about having to do furloughs in the upcoming year, some doing potential staff layoffs and things like that. So really just challenged financially for a number of reasons. So Carol and I have talked about this a lot, and we can make it work in 2026, just keeping dues flat from keeping it at the same level as 2025. So just wanted to pass that along.
Commissioner Weisong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just as I'm not sure if this is the right term, point of order, but something seems to be off on the agenda because 6A was the draft and then 6B is supposed to be the executive director evaluation timeframe. And this information is showing that this is 6B. Do we need to modify the agenda to reflect what we're being presented?
Yeah, I noticed in the packet that Andy's evaluation is 6A, labeled as 6A, and this is labeled as 6B. I think that we're probably okay.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And so we're doing you first, Carol. We could have given you a break. So, all right.
Okay, so just to continue, we are proposing full-time employees budgeted at 40 FTEs at a 3% proposed wage package increase. It's 4.7, basically 4.715 million, which is 42% of our budget. At a 2.75% increase, it's just slightly lower at a 4.70 package expense, which is 42.15% of the overall budget. And as noted, part of your package is I did break down the expenses in the detail, and I talk about the different grants that we have, and I won't sit here and talk about every expense. I'm open to answer any questions that you may have, but I did want to point out that during the board workshop, we talked about reserves. And I did make a note that currently reserves are at 14.51%, and we're trying to get up to 17%. And when we did the air handling system in 2024, we estimated it would take us about 5 years to get back to the 17%. And I'm sticking to that 5-year plan. So we're only into a year of that 5-year plan. With the uncertainties of the fiscal year 2026 that we're all having, I don't want to. 5 years just seems like a realistic expectation. But anyway, again, you have all the details of expenses in here, and I won't go through them, but happy to answer any questions. We have draft budgets in here, but again, what I'm looking for is guidance on membership dues and wage package increases, and I presented a 3% wage package increase and a 2.75 wage package increase. Open to any questions.
Okay, Mayor Thompson.
If the dues stay flat, can you do either or both of these wage increases?
Yes.
Because that is critical to me, is making sure that the employees that are very specialized in what we need for here maintain the cost, at least some type of cost of living adjustment because of the increase in just everything we know.
Yeah,
But,
we appreciate that.
But you can do either one or both of the wage increases.
Yes.
And the highest you would feel comfortable with would be 3%.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have another question? My question actually is, as far as your benefits package, what kind of health insurance increases are your employees seeing? And do we need to be looking at 3% or 2.75 based upon the health insurance?
Yeah, that is a great question. Our health insurance is, the PPACG portion of health insurance is increasing by about 10%. We are not passing any increases on to employees.
That's correct. We think we can absorb it and not pass along the burden, and we can make that work. Yes.
And then for new members of our committee, it is a pay for performance plan. So there's not a cost of living adjustment unless Andy decides on that. So
that's correct. It's all
Yeah.
merit based as far as pay increases for next year. Yes, always is. Yep.
Thank you for clarifying that. I just used
Okay.
the wrong term. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure of that. So we have 2 items here. I think that we definitely want to stick with the flat member dues. It's not what we expected to be doing, but I do think that the cities and the municipalities and even the county, we're having some sales tax revenue issues where it's not coming in as high as we want it to. And so that gives the economy some time to get back on its feet and make sure we don't hurt our small cities and towns or our large city. So is everybody okay with recommending the flat? This is just recommendations only.
Palmer Lake appreciates a flat increase, so thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I think everybody is good with that. Mayor Case, your mic is on?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And then let's see what people recommend on the pay increases, the wage increase.
3%.
3%. We got 2 hands for 3.
I would suggest 3 as well. This is Mayor Case.
Okay, so we're going to go with the 3%. So given those recommendations, next month we will have a public hearing on the budget and approve the budget. So
Great. Thank you for the guidance.
okay, now let's go back to item. Yes, Sharon.
I would just like to make one comment. I think the fact that PPACG is in a place to absorb this, not having a dues increase and still do an employee rate, really is hats off to Andy and how much under his leadership we have expanded the amount of work that we do and the money that we're bringing in.
Yes.
Grants and other things. So hats off to Andy and Carol and the rest of the staff for having us in this position. Thank you.
Yes, we are in a really good place at Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. Mayor Stern, no? Okay. Let's go back to back in our package and then bring up Sherry Hoffman for our Executive Director Evaluation.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Board. Thank you. The Executive Director Evaluation did get sent out yesterday at 1 p.m. I did get one bounce back, but I let the person know that it was bounced back, so I haven't received any more bounce backs. So if you don't have the survey, please let me know as soon as possible. The answers to the questions on the survey should be completed no later than October 21st. Please. So that would be great. I know a couple people have already finished it, so I really appreciate that. In November, the board members will vote to meet in closed section to review the results of the evaluation and the progress that Mr. Gunning has made towards his 2025 goals. And in conjunction, Mr. Gunning will establish goals for 2026 that the board will also review. No decisions will be made in the November board meeting, of course, but we will just meet to get recommendations. So, any questions? Thank you.
Okay, and so if everybody just remembers that date, I have to calendar to make phone calls to y'all if you aren't doing your evaluations. So Sharon had that job last year. I guess it's mine this year. Okay. And I would just say too, if we're going to have our executive director evaluation, and we think it's going to take time, we might want to be able to allow staff to leave. So, I just sometimes when you go into executive session, it's easier to allow the staff to be able to go back to their jobs and not have to stand around in the hallway. So I don't know as if we have much after. We always have your executive director report, which, will be.
Madam Chair, we usually meet at 8 a.m.
and do it early. Okay.
And do it early instead of keeping people afterwards.
All right. So next month.
So please note your calendars. Yes. For next month.
I just want to remind people when we go into executive session, if you're online, we do ask you to turn your camera on. So be sure you comb your hair and get dressed that morning, at least from the waist up. So.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to comb your hair, but at least it's a hard thing when you go into executive session because okay. All right, now we're to other reports and minutes. So we have the Transportation Advisory Committee, the Community Advisory Committee, the Mobility Coordinating Committee, the RAC, and the Pikes Peak Commission on Aging, as well as Air Quality and Water Quality. Does any one of those committees have did anyone have questions on their reports? Hey, I got all the way through that. That was pretty good. The CDOT monthly update. We have John here for our favorite item.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy that it's your favorite item. Really just the usual updates, slides. Active construction projects in the Pikes Peak area continue to be Powers and Airport Boulevard. We're really getting further along, although do not have an anticipated, solid date yet to put traffic up over the bridge. So, but hopefully we're going to start getting that progress pretty soon. I-25 Fillmore to Garden of the Gods, pretty significant milestone in paving the deck on the Elston structure, the southbound structure. So we'll see what work we can before the winter to get some paving and stuff over there and really put us in a strong position to finish off next year. 115 resurfacing Nelson Boulevard to Brookside. So that project is progressing pretty well and in the downhill stretch. And 67D north of Woodland Park improvements. That project is certainly had a lot more challenges and is behind schedule. We are kind of working with the contractor, we are working with the contractor right now and negotiating kind of what winter shutdown we'll probably have to do up there and getting it in a good position that's stable for the winter. With pretty much hopefully the drainage work and kind of all the west side work completed is what we're trying to get to. Various traffic projects, striping locations throughout, and then I have the planned future PPACG projects of note. We've added over the last couple months a handful of traffic projects. 24H, which is of course that MLK Fountain Boulevard Academy Park loop, so really Fountain Boulevard traffic signal intersection. 24G, so that's Platte, and Highway 24 east side of town, Stapleton traffic signal installation. 83 County Line Road traffic signal replacement. 83 Stagecoach Road at roundabout, and a pretty new project. So we're definitely looking strongly at putting in wildlife fencing, basically from the gap, tying into the gap and running south. That's probably about the heaviest area of traffic of wildlife crashes we have in the region. So, and then of course, kind of 2027 projects. These are the bigger projects, kind of note. We have Garrett to Woodman widening. That's actually the official name, so I can use that dirty term, right? 10-year project that is on track right now. We really appreciate all the support from El Paso County in particular on that project and the city. US 24 also out East Judge Orr Road intersection improvements, which include Bluegill and Green Mountain Falls intersection, which is also a traffic project. Do some improvements right there on 24.
When you get to some kind of conceptual design, could I get that so I can get it out to the locals?
Yeah, I know they're working out scope issues and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And that is 2027, so we're still in the very early stages, but absolutely. Scott, my RE, he definitely knows to get in touch with you there. No, absolutely. And then I think we're take any other questions, of course, and then we can go on to the Central Front Range.
Councilmember Donaldson.
Yeah, just one question. Inside the city, 115 or Nevada south of I-25. Can you just give an update on that or what the projected timeline is to finish that up?
Yeah, that's the 115 resurfacing Nelson Boulevard to Brookside is our project.
Okay.
We're just resurfacing, and it's we should be finished before the end of the year. In the next month or so, we should be wrapping up the paving operations. And now, of course, there was a city project that's really kind of Brookside to I-25, right? Doing the concrete work, changing those intersections and all. And to my knowledge, I think they're done with that project, right?
Okay, but the actual surfacing of the road within a month should be pretty much completed before it gets cold.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Thanks.
Councilmember.
Okay, let's go on to our other important counties, Teller and Park.
And you'll forgive me, I just kind of like just reading the names of each of these projects, just because that's our accessibility standards, right? With slides now, is to make sure to at least speak so I don't mean to drag this out, but that's the reason I kind of read through the bullets, which isn't a practice we did years ago, right?
Sure.
We would say, hey, read the slide. But 9 and 285 reconstruction. We're really still kind of wrapping that up, but in terms of paperwork, but that is actually done, and we're going to pull that out of the slides in the future. 9 and 285 chain up stations, also the same thing. The validation is complete, so that's going to drop off on future slides. 24A resurfacing Florissant through Divide. That includes a little stretch of Woodland Park in PPACG's area. 67, basically just north of 24, which so that should be getting paved and maybe even this week. But that project is a little bit iffy with all the weather up there, but we're certainly hoping to have all the paving done before the end of the year and not have to do any sort of winter shutdown. 285 resurfacing up in Bailey is ongoing and also trying to get finished up before the winter cools down too much. We have timber bridges being replaced mostly east 24 and east end of El Paso County and west up in the mountains, plus some other locations noted, Highway 9, Highway 67 up south of Divide, and one location on US 285. Various signing and striping projects also up there. And then for future projects of note in Central Front Range, we're going to have some culvert lining repairs in Fremont County. And we actually just awarded that project, so that could get kicked off this year still. I have it listed as 2026, but some work might actually be in 2025. Winter is when there's low flows and good time to get into those culverts. 69 resurfacing south of Texas Creek. For next summer, 24G, so again, that's east of Colorado Springs, resurfacing and passing lane east of Peyton. So those last two projects, the 69 and the 24, are on pace to advertise here in October. We don't anticipate the federal shutdown. I think we have the clearances we need to get those advertised in October and find out about bids. And then 115 concrete pavement maintenance down in Penrose.
Okay. Are there any questions on any of those projects?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Not on those projects, but just go back to the previous slide. I think I just missed it, John.
Yeah.
The I-25 project, Fillmore to Garden of the Gods, completing in 2026. Is there a approximation of when in 2026?
Well,
is it?
Basically late summer, August, September.
So it could to the end of the year, right? To the end of the workable.
Yeah, I mean,
season.
relatively.
Okay.
Yes.
I've got some citizens I'm going to talk to in a couple days. They will be interested in that. So they shouldn't plan on earlier than that.
No, although we're definitely optimistic that it could be earlier in the season when we really kind of get people out on what is amounts to about the full pavement width. And then, a big part of the last phase of the operation is just putting the final lift of HMA, the final paving course on it. So at that point, you've got the road relatively open. So
it'll be straightened back out then. The
yes,
diversions and all go away.
I mean, it is yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
Okay. Thank you very much, John. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Item G is the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee update. Just on that, the Transportation Commission this month is doing a tour of the Glenwood Springs Bridge area. And so, and also discussing the budget. So as the vice chair and the chair is Gary Beatty of the Statewide Transportation Advisory Committee, we did not have any business, so we canceled the meeting. So there wasn't a stack meeting this month. So there's no report on that, but next month we'll be looking at the CDOT budget and seeing what they're proposing for their budget next year. But good list of projects from CDOT. Thank you, John, because I know it's hard in the state budgeting right now. The Front Range passenger rail update, I'm going to turn that over to Andy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And really not much to update on as far as the actual initiative under passenger rail, but I will share that Mayor LeKind couldn't join the meeting today, but he's needing to step back away from the passenger rail district as our representative. He notified the district staff and the chair this week. So we probably will aim to get this back on the agenda for a PPACG board appointment. I'm assuming in November. I mean, there's a chance it could wait until January when you do the annual meetings, when you do the annual meeting and annual appointments. But we'll gauge interest and see if we can get this on the agenda for November to kind of keep moving along. But Mayor LeKind just has a lot going on. as mayor and running his business and just a lot of other things, and just realized he needed to step back and took a little bit too much on.
Now, the one thing, go ahead, Mayor
Can we
Thompson.
wait till after the election?
Well, we will be after the election for our next meeting. The important thing is, if you want to, and what Mayor LeKine said to us, if you want to participate on the Front Range Passenger Rail Board, there's 4 meetings or 4 committees. So what we'll do is, we could send out, we can get a description. I'm looking at John to see if he can get us a description. We want to know how many meetings you're going to have to attend, for especially those who are volunteer. The important thing I think about it is, of course, Mayor LeKine wanted to serve on it because of a potential station and monument. We have this going through Fountain, so and then the city of Colorado Springs will have a nice hub there downtown. We know that, and so I would look to City of Colorado Springs, Commissioner Applegate, Mayor Thompson, if you're reelected.
Yeah, but Colorado Springs already does have a seat on the Front Range Passenger Rail.
Okay, so we're looking maybe if anyone else is interested in that.
Let's find out what it is, because
yeah, there are several meetings.
A few meetings ago, they were saying you only meet quarterly, or you meet monthly, and if they're changing what their anticipation and expectation is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send out the details, because
Let's get the details to make sure that we don't overwhelm someone.
Yeah, because I don't think there's a rapid pace of board meetings. It may be monthly or every other month, but there are a lot of subcommittees, which is where a lot of the work gets done. So we'll dig into it and share out that information. Yep.
And there is no alternate. Yes. So. Okay. Committee and commission vacancies are listed in your packet, so please be sure to look over those. If you're able to find volunteers, we always appreciate it. I think most of our committees are done on Teams too. Jared?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that gives individuals in the other counties a reason to attend a meeting virtually. And executive director's report. Andy.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things wanted to bring up. One is that this happened after the last board meeting, middle of September. We had a great DC fly-in with the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Corporation. They had a lot of sessions that we were part of, but then separate from that, our federal lobbyist, William Mudge, set up some really fantastic meetings for us with our chair, Holly Williams, Jared and I, William joining us, and just some great follow-up conversations, really, especially on 2 of our big federal priorities, transportation funding and the air quality issue. On the transportation funding issue, we've mentioned this before, that there's a House Resolution 3030 that it is attempting to address the funding equity issue, where Colorado is not getting its fair share back based on the quirks and the population that's embedded in the formula in transportation reauthorization. So there's a bill out there to study ways to fix that. And we had a great meeting, probably with 45 minutes, with Representative Jeff Hurd, who's on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. He's the only member in the Colorado delegation that's on that committee, and he's actually on the subcommittee of Highways and Transit. So he'll be in the room as they're drafting transportation reauthorization that's due for next year. But great conversation with him. He's considering whether or not to support and sign on to that bill as a co-sponsor. We're hoping he does, because if he does, I think that opens up the floodgates for other members in our delegation to also sign on. Although we did also get a commitment where Representative Joe Neguse has signed on. He heard about it after a large meeting with a bunch of folks from the Springs flying group, and he committed to signing on and has signed on as a co-sponsor. So really happy that we were able to kind of move the needle on that initiative and build some more support. And then shifting gears a little bit, great conversations around our air quality challenge with our background ozone issues that you've heard about. Good conversation with Gabe Evans, Chief of Staff. Congressman Evans addressed it when he met with our big delegation, but then we also had this separate meeting with his Chief of Staff, and he mentioned that this is a priority of the representatives to really help us address this background issue with emissions that we don't control, that's impacting all of us up and down the Front Range and other parts of the Intermountain West. So just wanted to share that. Sometimes you feel like in those trips you don't make a big difference, but I think we really were able to move the needle. So appreciate the chair's efforts, and we packed a lot in that day on the Hill. So really, it made a big difference. Shifting gears a little bit. probably later this week or early next week, I'll send out an email to the board asking who's interested in serving on the executive committee for 2026. We're kind of at that point where we do a census of who's interested in chair, vice chair, second vice chair, treasurer, and secretary positions. So we collect that interest and then talk about it in November. You set up a nominating committee. I think it's in November to then work up a recommended slate that you would bring forward in, say, December for action in January. So that's coming up soon. So start thinking about that, but I'll blast out that request for seeking who's interested here, either, like I said, either this week or early next week. And last thing I want to mention, I think Commissioner Mitchell is still on the call. A handful of us are going to be up in Park County end of October. I think it's October 28th. I'm really looking forward to a joint meeting with Park County, towns of Fairplay and Alma, and just talk about services that we provide through PPACG and what's going on up in Park County and how we can further support work that's taking place up there. So really, really looking forward to that. But thank you, Commissioner Mitchell, in setting up that intergovernmental meeting, and we're really looking forward to it. So that's all I've got.
Awesome. That is great. Okay, let's go around for member entity announcements. Let's start with Councilmember Donaldson.
And thank you, Madam Chair. News in Colorado Springs is obviously the budget has started, and the mayor handed that off to council, and we'll be working through that process over the next couple of months. Other than that, I'd like to remind you that October is Art Month, and so we'd ask you to try to attend a live cultural event in the month of October. And on October 29th, it's exactly 100 days from the start of the Winter Olympics. In case you haven't heard, this is Olympic City, USA, right here where you're sitting today. And there's going to be a ceremony on that 100th day before the Olympics on October 29th at 5:30 at UCCS at the Olympic sculpture they have there. And so we invite all of you and all of your citizens. So we'll expect, tens of thousands to be there for this 100-day ceremony. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Mayor Stern, there's one more gray hair in your head this week.
I can't believe it. Mayor Stern has nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, this Sunday in Manitou Springs, we're going to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. It'll be noon at City Hall. It'll be a potluck. We'll have speakers and storytellers from the Lakota and the Ute tribes. So it's kind of a fun day, and you're certainly welcome to come and participate. Thanks.
Mayor Dixon.
Well, the artwork over the lake's going to be coming down in a couple of weeks.
Aw. Yeah.
Huh?
What happens to it now?
They just take it down. The people who did the installation will take it down. And they do a new one every year. And so next year it'll be something different.
Okay. Mayor Thompson.
All right, October 24th, big trunk or treat down around City Hall, and thousands of kids come, and then we sugar them up and send them home. So come down and get some sugar. All right.
Can the adults come too?
If you can get somebody to put candy in your little bag, you go right ahead.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Wysong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We completed the Fountain Creek Water District cleanup, which transpired over the last 9 days, finished up on Sunday. For those of you who have never done a dog park cleanup, a lot of fun. However, my recommendation is go to the furthest part and then walk back towards the drop-off point because it's a heavy bucket.
Oh.
And then we did a Bear Creek Nature Center kind of trail maintenance, overgrowth issues, trimming it back, all the flora and fauna, and then did some invasive weed mitigation. So it was, bracketing the last 2 weekends. So it was a great event. And hopefully we'll get more and more people attending next year. Thank you.
Commissioner Applegate.
Thank you. DC Fly-In was back in middle of September, so all of the commissioners were able to fly out there, and we were able to go and speak. We had a couple Capitol tours. We got to hear from most of the members of Congress from Colorado, just talk about like updates, just what was going on with everything with the Space Force, just to the economy, just to trying to pass a budget at that time. And we got to hear from both our senators, so it was really eye-opening. And it was also good to network also with the various community leaders and some of these small business owners that came out during the fly out. So good event. So we look forward to, they're going to do it, I think, 2 years from now. So, yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go online and see Commissioner Mitchell. Do you have anything for Park County?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We jam-packed most everything into the summer, but we did have a successful slash day on Saturday, October 4th in a couple parts of the county, help people clean up and get some slash removed for fire mitigation. And other than that, we're looking forward to having Andy and PPACG team up here for our intergovernmental meeting at the end of the month. And you guys all stay warm. I think we might have some weather coming in. Finally, it's been a very mild fall up here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Durham, Cripple Creek.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everybody. We just wrapped up our event season with Fall Fest this past weekend. Numbers were excellent. Saturday was a little cold and rainy, but that didn't stop the pet parade from proceeding. And so I'm just excited to, start planning for next year. We do have the Home Rule Charter Commission question on the ballot this November. So we're hoping the community will vote in favor of forming that commission and at least give the citizens a chance to write that charter for consideration on the November 26th ballot. We are currently in the process of becoming a Main Street community. So our newly appointed board has been working on the strategic plan, and we're going to be applying for the, the December cycle to become official with our Main Street program. We've already identified our first project, which will be the Pocket Park on Bennett Avenue next to City Hall. So looking forward to that. And then just a shout out to John Losatos and John Henry and Danelle Miller working with the Cripple Creek community to potentially bring driver education up to our little tiny mountain town. And so yeah, thank you, John and Danelle, for that. And that's all I have for today.
Awesome. Councilwoman Brandy Williams. Or go ahead, Brandy.
Good morning. The budget dropped on Monday, so we are working through that right now. We're really excited, that we're virtually going to be flat, maybe even a little less than last year. Interesting to see the difference between cities, counties, PPACG, how we're all being impacted. But that's kind of the big thing that we're going through right now. And Colorado Springs Utilities is going to have a rate case on Tuesday. If anybody wants to come speak on that, sign up with Sam at City Hall, and that meeting is Tuesday, October 14th at 9 a.m. And that's all I've got. Thanks.
Councilman Rainey.
Okay, as my colleagues have already mentioned about the budget, the one thing I do want to highlight is on October 27th, 5:30 to 7 p.m., there will be a public hearing giving members of the public an opportunity to come share their comments and thoughts on the budget. So once again, that date is October 27th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. And just want to give a major shout out to Colorado Springs Utilities. Last week, we had the opportunity of touring Ray Nixon Power Plant, and it was great to see a lot of civic leaders, also state legislators. We had a couple of state senators there, along with elected officials, local officials. So a great opportunity for us to truly get a better understanding of how water is pushed up from Pueblo into the region, and also just watching the process of turning coal into energy was quite eye-opening. So major shout out to those guys. That's all I have.
Okay. And Mayor Pro Tem King.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As everybody has already mentioned about the budget issues, and Monuments certainly has had
its share of revisions as well. And we were one of the first to jump on this, and we have an excellent town manager and an excellent finance director who has brought a lot of things to our attention. We've righted this ship for 2026, and it looks like that's going to be a good budget year for us. We are very engaged in community activism, so we have established a community group for service levels and also for economic development. And we continue with our 2040 comprehensive plan, which also engages the community, and not just from Monument, we engage the community from the Tri-Lakes area. So we're looking forward to the future. Thank you.
Thank you. For El Paso County, I think we've pretty well covered it. We've had a successful trip in DC with the lobbying and Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments, and we had our budget on Tuesday, and so we're all digging through it, but we're in a similar situation, just making sure we have a conservative budget, really only one-time expenditures above the normal stuff that we do. So I think that is it for today. Is there any other business that needs to come before the committee? Okay. All right, that's it. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.